Throughout the day, it rained at Shuelan Middle School. Numerous parents stood outside the school with umbrellas, each with an expression of anticipation on their face. Today was the most important day for their children. Their future depended on this exam. They could either enroll in a middle school for magic or a good university of magic. Yes, you read that right. A middle school for magic. Society respected only power, and power meant magic. All children were required to attend a magic education school for 9 years, where they would learn the basics of magic theory and life skills. At the end of their education, they must pass the final exam to determine if they would be admitted to the middle school for magic and become wizards. The rain continued to drizzle outside, spreading a soft osmanthus fragrance. The bell rang, and the examinees rushed out into the courtyard, where many gathered together to discuss questions and answers. Hey, Mewbai, how did you answer the question about the 7 primary elements of magic: ice, fire, earth, water, wind, light, and thunder? Asked a boy with a bow tie. As always, perfectly, Mewbai replied, a tall, handsome boy with magnificent hair. As expected from a student like you. Answering the most difficult question in the exam. Hey, isn't that Mo Fan who got 6 points in the mock exam? Said Zhao Kun-san, a boy with a scarred face. Mewbai looked at Mo Fan with contempt, who walked alone and said, this guy is just like his father, poor, with an old broken pickup truck. Isn't he your family's servant, Mew? Har har har. The 3 students spoke boldly, unafraid of Mo Fan, who walked alongside and heard everything. Laughing enough, the students left the school, boasting that they would enroll in the middle school for magic. Holding a black umbrella, Mo Fan walked out of the school gates. When he turned to say goodbye to the school campus, unpleasant words about his father came to his mind. Mo Fan was not from this world. In his world, he was a genius, but he received bad grades on mock exams. In his opinion, mock tests were meaningless. If you were a student, there was no point in wasting your time on grading tests. Initially, Mo Fan planned to be serious only for the final exam to become the first and wipe the floor with Mewbai when he transferred to the best school in the city. But who could have predicted what happened next? He, as the best student, fell asleep in class and suddenly teleported to another world. People he knows, students, teachers, his father, and sister haven't changed, but the rest of the world. The development of science in this world has turned into the study of magic. The fields of physics and chemistry have turned into black, white, and temporal magic. The entire field of research depends on 7 elements: ice, earth, water, fire, wind, light, and thunder. Everything he knows has changed so much. He has no idea about magic, and the knowledge he has from his world is useless here. Everyone else is already prepared for the exam, but he will have to spend a lot of time on it. Mo Fan knows nothing about the basics of magic theory. Now, he is not the one who pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. He has become a pig because he knows absolutely nothing. His only good news is that the first 9 years are based on theoretical knowledge, and the real potential is revealed after they attend magical schools. The most important step for a real wizard is the magical awakening. Magical awakening usually occurs during the opening ceremony of the magical school, where teachers become witnesses. At this moment, whether you have knowledge or not, it just happens inside a person. Mo Fan really likes the idea of magic. He feels like he has been reborn in his ideal world from his fantasies. He also dreamed of becoming a supreme wizard, wielding fire and thunder to save the world with his own powers. But contrary to his expectations, he faced the final graduation exam, which was very difficult. Even with his constant efforts before the exams, he was able to understand only a few magical theories by reading many exam questions. Even if he doesn't understand everything, he is satisfied with this. Mo Fan, Mo Fan. A middle-aged man stood among the crowd and waved to Mo Fan. The boy looked at the familiar face with surprise and exclaimed, Dad, why are you here? I came for you. After all, this is your graduation exam. I found us a job in the city. Wenfeng is ready to hire us. After working for him, we can earn 4,000 to 5,000 a month. Mo Sin said with a smile. The world has changed, but his father's love remained the same. Unlike the job Mo Sin talked about, Mo Fan will surprise him with his news, but he must accept the harsh reality. Currently, he doesn't want to and won't fall down. Cars, mobile phones, computers, refrigerators, all of these haven't changed. But if you don't possess magic, then you're just. No, I really want to learn, Mo Fan replied. Are your grades okay? Mo Shin asked. No, the boy replied. Well, that's not a problem. As the saying goes, magic is the most valuable thing in the world. and we all must practice it. But there's another saying, no matter what you aspire to, you must achieve greatness in it. Motion decided to comfort his son in this way. While the boy listened to his father, he unconsciously bit his lips. Many of the knowledge he possessed were transformed, but Mo-fan didn't know to what extent. For example, if he said in this world that the creator of the light element was Thomas Edison, he would be a fool. Motion patted his son's shoulder when he finished speaking. He noticed that his son wasn't listening to him, he was lost in thought. Knowing his son, he stopped smiling and asked, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I want to awaken, even if I regret it later. I really want to go to a good school and become a midge," Mo-fan said sincerely. He just needed one change. Motion was silent, but he could see that his son was serious. Mo-fan was also silent. "Do you really want to do this?" he asked for confirmation. "Yes," Mo-fan answered without hesitation. Mo-fan initially thought it was just a dream he saw. But it wasn't a dream. "Well, I'll find a way," Motion began to ponder. "Dad, I'm going to work part-time in the library of the Tianlan School of Magic during the summer break. I'll be a librarian. The job starts the day after tomorrow," Mo-fan said. Since he had decided to study magic, he was going to give it his all. Whether he could go to a magic school or not would depend on his father's abilities and his own knowledge. Knowing exactly what he needed for success, he decided to work as a librarian in that school. The job doesn't pay much, but that's not important. What matters are the knowledge he will be able to find in that library. Fortunately, he's a genius, so he will quickly understand everything. But with the current level of magical knowledge, he feels intellectually inferior. Motion was happy that his son decided to study magic to become better, as only magicians can boast status. They could have their own business, car. Even a simple graduate of a magic school has more respect than any other citizen. "Don't worry, Dad will do everything to help you," nodded Motion, not knowing what else to say. In the middle of the mountain is a residential area, and if you follow the road, you can get to Mo-fan's house. Near the mountain ridge stands a one-story house with peeling paint, unprotected among other houses. Many houses have been repaired and extended to 3 floors, and they looked much better than Mo-fan's one-story house. Mo-fan GE, note, GE is a polite form of address for older people, DI is for younger people. "You're back. I have good news that will make you smile," said the teenager, who jumped out like a monkey in front of Mo-fan with a happy smile when Fan approached the house. "What's the good news?" Mo-fan asked. "The little princess just came back. I saw her when I passed by the mountain gate. You don't know how beautiful she has become, like a little angel," excitedly said Jang-hoo. Mo-fan looked at the villa in the residential area across the street. The villa was beautiful, and many would be envious. Every inch of the garden was decorated to look like a real little forest. The beautiful villa's garden was surrounded by high fences. As he reminisced about his childhood, he remembered that there was no fence, and he often brought other children to play near the villa. The residence has several villas built in the best European style. In the eyes of children, such a villa resembles a fairy tale castle, where a princess lives, who makes people hold their breath from her beauty. In childhood, Mo-fan played with such a princess, as if kidnapping her from the castle to play with other children. Mo-fan couldn't remember when the slow encroachment of fences and gardens began, and when the adults started forbidding them from playing together. Back then, she was a fake princess, everything was just a game, but now she had become a real one, growing further apart from Mo-fan and having less and less contact with him. "You know, I heard that the little princess is now a trump card of the prestigious Imperial Magic School. She's only 15 years old, but she can control ice magic," Jang-hoo whispered. Mo-fan froze in shock, struck and amazed by what he had heard. If someone had told him she won an Olympics, he would have believed it, but to become an ice mage at her age was truly incredible. Most people only awaken their magic at 16 and learn the basics. After awakening their magic, students learn their first spells, but it doesn't mean they have become mags. They must go through a long process of cultivation, buy magical books, and train diligently. Yet this girl already possessed magic at the age of 15. Are children like her called prodigies? Prodigies of magic? Mo-fan GE, it's a shame you didn't keep track of the little princess. Other people could take her away, leaving us to die of envy, Jang-hoo said, raising his eyebrows. "You talk too much," Mo-fan said, ignoring him. Motion coughed, standing to the side and hearing their conversation. He called Mo-fan home. When they entered the house, their father left again, telling his son, "I'll be gone for a while. Xia is here today, I don't think Auntie will come." "Okay, Dad, I understand." Motion left the house, hurrying along the fence towards a familiar villa. Mo Fan thought about what else had changed. However, his poor family's situation had not changed, nor had the rich family living in that very villa. God has changed the world around me, but not my family's situation. At least one more good news is that I'm still the same, my appearance hasn't changed, and I still receive romantic looks from girls. Sitting at home with nothing to do, he started to look around, hoping to see something different. He saw a few people passing by and, looking closer, he noticed his father's old pickup truck. His father used to work as a personal driver for the villa's resident, but he was later transferred to a low-paying job where he mostly helped people in the villa buy things in the city or return items. Since then, life had become worse. Jiashin, you're asking for too much. I've never treated your family poorly, but your son has caused such a big problem. I'm helping you with work, but if it were someone else, I would have fired him by now, the middle-aged man slowly said. Mu Hee, I promise this is the last time I'll ask for your help. Tianlan Magic High School is asking for too much money this year, and I can't afford it with my finances, Motion said humbly. Why are you doing so much for your useless son? He failed the exam, but is already 16. He can earn money himself. If I help you this time to get him into magic school, with his qualifications, he won't be able to awaken magic and won't become a magician. Becoming a real magician is not easy. It's not enough to rely on raw talent. You need to make efforts, buy books and equipment, and your family can't afford it. Without all this, he won't even be able to learn a simple spell, let alone become a magician. He said seriously, but for Mo Fania, these words seemed arrogant. He really wants to learn everything. Mu Hee, if you help us, when Master Mu tells us to leave, we'll leave. I'll make sure we're far enough away, and I can personally ensure that Mo Fan won't be near Mu Ning Xiu, Motion exclaimed. Oh, I'll take that into consideration. Mu He became interested in the resettlement of this family from the Mu residence. A teenager, with his ear pressed against the wall, was bewildered as he overheard the conversation. He had hoped that since the world had changed, the horrible family relationships would have changed too, but that wasn't the case. Just like the Mu family was wealthy and noble, his father struggled in the lower strata of society, begging for help from everyone. This Mu He was the chairman of the Tianlan Magical School. In fact, as long as he kept his word, the boy could be accepted into the Tianlan school. Upon hearing that his father had agreed to leave the Mu family's residence, the boy sighed heavily and accepted the news. His father, Motion, continued to thank Mu He, who got into his luxurious car and drove away, raising dust. What kind of dream was this? The cruel reality engulfed Mo Fania, as he leaned against the wall, breathing heavily, and realized that his family's situation might not change at all. There was no difference between these two worlds. In the olden days, large families had a huge inheritance and a long history, just like now. Even though they don't call the lower class slaves, they are still workers, and their fate is still not enviable. The rich still manipulate their destinies. He was born with such a low status, influenced by the Mu family. With a surge in his heart, the boy clenched his fist tightly and struck the wall. You, the Mu family, mocked and used me, belittling me. When I rise, I will pay back this humiliation tenfold, no, 100-fold. Mo Fan returned home, pondering Mu his words. It seemed that he was serious about the boy's family. I won't even be able to complete a simple exercise. Oh, just wait. Mo Fan acknowledged that he had been close to little Princess Mu Ning in the past, but he never thought it would bring misfortune to his family. Since then, Mo Fan realized that even in this world filled with magic, social status determines your life. Mo Fan, har, I did it. I called my friend, he's a damn amazing guy. He's the chairman of the Tianlan school and said he'll make an exception for you. But you have to promise to train hard after awakening your magic. This opportunity only comes once in a lifetime. You have to work hard, said Motion, smiling and patting Mo Fan on the shoulder. Mo Fan knew that his father would be drinking wine to celebrate his success. However, knowing how hard he had worked to achieve it, Mo Fan didn't dare to offend his father and supported him. Really? That's great news. What else could I expect from my father? You can do anything. Mo Fan smiled and hugged his father. And who do you think your father is? Said Motion, smiling even wider. As they drank their drinks, Motion said, Mo Fan, you'll have to stay in the school dormitory, I'll rent out the house to earn more money. Mo Fan knew that his father would actually sell Mu his house, but even that piece of land was worth a lot. Okay, I won't be here often, but what about Xia? Mo Fan pretended not to know anything. Xia will live with her aunt. To be honest, I don't think two boys can take care of her properly. Xia is a very intelligent girl, we don't need to worry about her. Mo Shan insisted. Okay, but don't forget to visit me at school. Mo Fan said. I know, I feel sleepy, and you have to go to the library tomorrow, don't you? Mo Shan finished his rice wine and staggered to his feet. Mo Fan turned to escort his father out and realized something. He would be in the dormitory, Xia would stay with her aunt, but where would the old man sleep? But in the end, Mo Fan didn't ask. Mo Shan was ready to make this sacrifice for Mo Fan and his duty as a father. He wanted his son to not worry about anything and study diligently, focusing only on his education. I will be able to help you, he said. Mo Fan, knowing what Mo Shan was doing for him, felt ashamed and sad. He had an incredibly amazing father. Mo Fan couldn't say that other people might look down on his father, but he respected him and would continue to do so. This small, broken-down house was not suitable for living. He would have to wait 3 years to use his magical powers to obtain everything he desired. This society respects and reveres only magic. And I will become an unbeatable and unstoppable master of magic. Summer vacation flew by quickly. During this time, Mo Fan felt buried under books. Regardless of the books available in Tianlan, there were many complex books on magical and scientific theories. The knowledge these books could offer was truly boundless. Even with such a short period of time, Mo Fan benefited greatly. At the very least, he was no longer illiterate in magic. He had completed the 9 years of compulsory education. At the very least, he understood more than all the students who spent 9 years studying it. The 1st of September, the first day of school, was the most important day for students, as they would now learn which element would awaken in them and what they would be studying. To awaken magic, the student must calm down and be in a state of rest until the magic awakens. Hey, little brat, I wish you luck. It's best if you awaken the fire element, it's the best element for any student. Compared to other elements, it's preferable in battle. Rare earth or wind are also good, said the old librarian. Mo Fan listened silently, feeling like the librarian could talk forever. To be honest, Mo Fan couldn't fall asleep last night. His life is not just changing, as it would in his world. He had never tried to awaken magic before because it did not exist in his world. Now he will go and take advantage of this opportunity. He could hear how fast his heart was beating. Mo Fan was placed in classroom 8 as student number 48. There was nothing he could do about it. In fact, he sneaked into the school through the back door, passing under the registration desk. The higher the number in the class, the higher the student's score on the final exam. The school believes that this encourages them, hoping they will achieve much by quickly understanding the subject matter. Unfortunately, Mubai sat under number 1 in the 8th grade. Mubai is part of the Mu family, and despite not being from the main family, he still looks down on Mo Fan and treats him as a servant, as he is referred to as young master in the Mu estate. However, this boy is far from Mu Ning Xiu, the little princess that Mubai wants to conquer. She doesn't even look at him. Mubai did well on the exam because he must be one of those who deserves attention and training in the Mu family. If he awakens the power of ice, like many in the Mu estate, his cultivation will be rapid, as the Mu family has many essential resources. Students, I welcome you to the School of Magic. For many of you, this is a very exciting day, but before the main event, I wanted to say something. On the schoolyard, 1,500 students lined up in 20 classes, looking spectacular. Students, do you know what it means to be a wizard? Never forget that no matter what kind of magic you have and what kind of wizard you are, we exist to make our humanity thrive. It is our duty, our sacred mission, and you must not forget it. Despite being safe, there are many magical creatures hiding beyond the city walls. Many had been waiting for this moment, and finally, the headmaster had moved on to an important part. Well, today you begin to awaken your magic, and I hope that in the future, you will become rising stars in the world of magic. When the headmaster finished speaking, no one could hide their joy. Who wouldn't want to wield fire and destroy their enemies? Who wouldn't want to wield ice and freeze their enemies? Who wouldn't want to wield the wind and fly through the world? Who wouldn't want to possess all of this? Countless stories, videos, and movies talk about heroes as they fight, calling on their followers to follow their example. Today, they would take the first step on the path of magic. Would they kill beasts to protect the city, or would they rule over the city? All 20 classes would be supervised by their homeroom teacher to help them through this awakening. Mo Fan, being the last in his class, would be the last in line for the magic awakening. The homeroom teacher in charge of Mo Fan's class, Wu Shen, would personally oversee their awakening, and all that was left for the students was to wait until they were called and place their hand on the awakening stone to awaken their magic. Hey, idiot, people like you who took the back door probably won't awaken. Trash like you shouldn't waste the stone's energy, said Zhao Kun-san, a former classmate of Mo Fan's. Mubai doesn't think Mo Fan is worthy even to talk to him, so he sent Zhao Kun-san instead. When Zhao mentioned the non-passers who couldn't awaken the magic, Mo Fan became worried. He crossed over into this world, his physiology might be different. What if he really only made himself look like a big laughing stock? Mo Fan Ji, just ignore him, bring out the magic of fire and show that dog his place, said Zhang Hu, who was in the same class as Fan. Mo Fan did not respond to the insult. On another day, he might have returned Zhao's words, but today Fan was very nervous. For reasons unknown, the black pendant he wore without taking it off trembled. He had received this pendant as a child, from the guard who guarded the back gate of his old school. He hadn't taken it off since. He suspected that this broken pendant was the reason he had moved to this world, but he continued to wear it anyway. Ever since this morning, that pendant has been shaking non-stop. That damn pendant. Shake it off, it's only a pendant. Mubai, Xu Muxing announced. It's Mubai. He's first in the class, isn't he? Yes, I saw him today before the assembly. What element do you think he will evoke? I hope it won't be trashy elements like water and light. Mubai stepped over the line, hearing the girls' cheers draw the attention of the girls from the other schools to him. Mubai pretended not to care and calmly, with a modest but confident smile on his face, approached the teacher. Deep down, however, he enjoyed the attention. Mubai, are you of the Mu family, which is well known for its ice magic? Asked Xu Muxing. Yes. Great, I think if you awaken the ice element in you, but you will get many advantages, but don't forget to work on yourself, the talent does not develop by itself. The teacher said. Mubai nodded his head at the teacher's words, but inside he protested, of course talent doesn't come out of nothing, but without the right resources you are still garbage. With the teacher's permission, Mubai slowly approached the awakening stone. The stone took the shape of a compass with a palm tree pattern as Mubai approached it. Mubai was a little nervous as he raised his hand. Being born into the Mu family, there is a good chance that he will have the element of ice, but there are times when a student will have the element of water or light. If this happens, the family will probably not recognize his status, they are not going to waste money on a useless element. Still, he put his right hand on the stone. The stone flashed, slowly but surely creating a magical seal on Mubai's hand, interpreting itself as if it were part of a vein on his arm. The rest of the classmates stood on their tiptoes, looking at Mubai, who was the first to awaken his magic. Mubai stood unmoving, solemnly but slowly raising his head. Tilder creak, 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 a small swirl of frosty air appeared over the stone. As the air grew thicker and colder, it became clearer what the awakened element was. The ice element, it really is the ice element, shouted one of the girls near Mubai. Mubai heard the voices and opened his eyes, abiding in joy. It really is the ice element as a trademark of the Mu family. Being in the Mu family with this element, in a few days, when he grows strong enough, he will be able to crush Mo Fan like an ant. Plus, he will have the opportunity to cultivate with Mu Ning Xiu if he wants to go far. Very good, very pure ice element. I think that by cultivating harder, you can achieve extraordinary heights, praised his teacher. Being able to awaken such pure ice shows that this student with a promising future whose magic power is above average. Next, Xiu Ying. The girl stepped confidently toward the stone. Okay, Earth Element, your power is quite great. Everything will depend on your efforts. Next, Zhu Qingling. The Ice Element. Mo Fan tried to look at what her ice element looked like, but he only saw a light frost, no whirlwind like Mu Bai's did. Even between the same elements there is a difference in strength. Qingling is clearly weaker than Mu Bai. Next, Lu Xiaobing. A. The Water Element. My goodness, why do I have the water element? I should have had the fire element, shouted Lu loudly. He could be heard even within 100 meters radius. Don't feel bad, depending on how you train, your strength will also depend. Once you reach the average level, you will become an outstanding mage, Mu Xing reassured the student, looking on sympathetically. There was nothing Lu could do about it, so he simply returned to his seat. Actually, the awakened element is very important. If martial magic appears, the student will have more opportunities to train and become more successful. The water element, even a simple shield spell is not stronger than earth magic. There are no obvious effects from using it, at least within the level of an elemental mage. Next. Zhang Hu. A man who looked like a monkey stood not far from Mo Fan and said, Mo Fan Ji, I'll be the first. HMPH, I hope you have the water element, remarked Zhao Kun-san wryly. Zhang Hu put his hand on the stone and soon after, the wind fluttered the teacher's clothes. Good, wind element, great talent. Don't be lazy and practice hard, the teacher spoke in a satisfied tone. Xiu Muxing was happy. Among the 10 people in his class, there are already 2 very gifted students. If they cultivate well, they can definitely enter a good magical university. The 8th grade class seems to have every chance of being the best class this year. Next, tilde poof tilde flames of orange popped out of the awakening stone. The entire class looked at the man with the fire magic. Fire. Fire element. My god, that girl, who is she? At this point, this girl was the topic of discussion among the class. With such a screaming element that everyone wants, she will become popular. Unfortunately, compared to the other elements, the chance of awakening the element of fire is very low. At best, there will be 3 students in one class, which is 10% of the class. Her name is Ju Min, she seems to be the daughter of one of the teachers, whispered one of the girls. She's quite pretty, maybe make friends with her. Are you out of your mind? She may seem nice and quiet, but she's actually very cruel. Otherwise, how could she bring out the element of fire? Makes sense. As one would expect from his daughter, Teacher Wenhua will be very happy, Xu Xingmu said. Thank you, teacher. Next. Wind element. Next, the element of light. Master, I'm going to the roof. No, don't stop me, said the student who had awakened the weak element. Next. The water element. Hey kid, with the element of light, I'll go to the roof with you. Next. Finally, after almost the entire class had awakened their magic, it was Mo Fan's turn. Among all the students, there was no more nervous student than Mo Fan. After all, he had only been studying magic for 3 months, it seemed that his awakening was not going to happen. Number 48, Mo Fan. Your turn, said Zhang Hu. Stop hoping for the impossible, you're hopeless. Even if you are lucky enough to awaken something, it will be some weak magic with which you won't even reach the average level. You'll just get kicked out of school. Zhao Kun-san said sarcastically. Will you shut your doggy mouth already, growled Zhang Hu angrily. Zhang Hu thought of Mo Fang as his big brother. There was no way he would believe that he could not have a gift or that he was inferior to others. 9 years of compulsory training is the foundation for future cultivation. Even if a student can evoke magic, he will not be able to progress. Mo Fan took a couple of small steps, walking through the crowd of students. That's him. The guy who came in through the back door. Who's that? "He's quite handsome?" asked the little girl dreamily. "He's one of the students who failed the exam," said a girl with a big mouth, trimmed to look like a mushroom. "That's right. His magic might be weak. Whether or not he can evoke magic is the question. Hey, water and light element guys, don't despair, maybe you'll cheer up when you see his score, he only scored 1 on the exam," Zhao Kun-san said, mockingly. When the students with the elements of water and light heard this, their eyes went wide, realizing that they could be better than him. "Stop making noise," the teacher said, looking at Zhao. Newby smirked, seeing Mo Fan's failure in his thoughts. This lower-level student, how can he communicate with Mu Ning Xiu? She should be looking at me. I am handsome and far more talented than this poor man. Mu Ning Xiu should communicate with people like me. Hey, trash, I heard that you sold your house to get a chance to awaken your magic. If that doesn't happen, you should jump into the river, maybe that will wash away such shame, said Newby quietly, so that only Mo Fan could hear him. Mo Fan, hearing this, silently cursed Newby as he approached the teacher. "Mo Fan, put your hand on the stone," said Xu Muxing quietly. As a teacher, Xu Muxing understood the student's circumstances perfectly. He got the lowest score on the exam, he barely got that chance to wake up. The teacher, knowing his family, understood that this family had no special talents. A terrible grade on the exam, abandoned by the class, it is all a headache for him as well, the boy could pull the class down. Nothing can be done. It's just my bad luck. I hope this kid doesn't fail with his awakening. Otherwise the class will be a laughingstock for the whole year. Mo Fan, being extremely nervous, could not stop shaking, raising his hand to the rock. "Calm down. Stop shaking," Xu Muxing warned him. With his left hand, Mo Fan intercepted his right hand and placed it on the rock. Cold goosebumps ran down Mo Fan's back, he didn't know what was going on, but there was no sign of ice. "What? Why isn't anything happening?" "Close your eyes, feel your spiritual world," instructed the boy's teacher. The student's problem was that no one had familiarized him with the process earlier. Mo Fan hastily closed his eyes. When one closes their eyes, one imagines their inner world as an empty space, while their mind wanders, some see a starry sky, but, mostly emptiness. Mo Fan felt nothing in his spirit world. He felt a rush of energy passing through his hand to the stone. A small surge of energy flowed through his palm into the awakening stone. But suddenly, violet lightning bolts were projected in his mind, traveling down the passage in his hand to the stone. Something incomparable and shocking. In the emptiness of his spirit world he saw jets of bright light, he focused on them and discovered a cluster of stars. He felt happy. The existence of stars in the spirit world is very important to the magician, the more of them, the stronger the magician. This cluster was very small compared to the spirit world, but there was light shining through it. Regardless of whether the light was weak or strong, it meant that Mo Fan would succeed in awakening magic. Har har har, who says I can't succeed? Does it look like I failed? The boy wanted to turn back and look at the expressions on Newby and Zhao Kun-san's faces. Anyway, I need to see the color of my star. Red represents the element of fire. Green represents the element of wind. Brown represents the earth element. Blue represents the element of water. Gold represents the element of light. Purple represents... My God! Mo Fan was amazed. Purple. I really do have a purple star. My God! Someone has awakened the lightning element, exclaimed one of the students about the courtyard. What? What? The lightning element? I'd trade my life for that kind of luck. Where? It's amazing. Such a bright purple light. The 8th grade class teacher must be very shocked. Ew, well why do I have the water element, why not lightning? No one's going to stop me, I'm going to the roof. Don't bother yourself with jumping, there are more people with the light element near you. That lightning element shocked the whole school. One student with the element of lightning is more than enough to cause a storm of emotion throughout the school. If the element of fire is what everyone wants, then the element of lightning is something they wouldn't dare dream of. This element is much more powerful and effective in battle than fire. Some teachers have done statistics on students with the element of lightning. Besides the students who neglected their gift, the statistics showed that half of the lightning elementals became successful mid-level mags. Compared to the rest, only 40% of the students become successful mags. Out of 1,500 students, only one person has the elemental of lightning, which shows how rare this magic is. All the students looked at the 8th grade boy who had awakened the lightning element. Hey, why is it so noisy in here? Mo-fan slowly opened his eyes, which were blazing with joy. However, when he opened his eyes, he saw that everyone, even their class teacher, was looking the other way. What's going on? Where are you all looking? Soon after, Mo-fan found the object of everyone's attention. A student from the neighboring class woke up lightning a little faster than himself, and all the students turned their attention to him. Mo-fan looked bitterly at his awakened magic. With the same flashing lightning, he felt as if he had been slapped in the face. He looked at that student with envy. I too have awakened this rare element of lightning. Mo-fan was about to tell those around him, as the stone under his hand glowed again, and another ray of light was added to his inner world. Mo-fan was very surprised by this. Could there be another awakening? Why is this happening again? Mo-fan tried to remove his hand, but the scalding magical rays of light had already gone through his body. Mo-fan didn't know what was happening to him, but something made him concentrate on magic again. In the emptiness of the spirit world, the purple stars shone faintly, as if they couldn't wait to shine again. When he felt that the lightning element had awakened, another ray of light swept through his spirit world like a meteor. Mo-fan was stunned. Another star appeared in his spiritual world. A red star. Mo-fan was shocked, but soon smiled happily. The fire element. I have awakened the element of fire. I was able to awaken 2 elements. As a rule, only one element appears when awakened. The probability of another element being awakened is almost 0. This event is rarer than the appearance of a lightning element. Mo-fan was ready to faint with delight. He had never expected anything like this. Now, with his extra element, he could even cry with happiness. Mo-fan clearly understood that by having the second element he prevailed over other people. Regardless of his level of knowledge and cultivation, he already has a lot more advantages. It's like if you got 2 skills in an online game, when the others only got 1. You will develop to become stronger. This will increase your combat ability. All this humiliation and bullying of his father and family made Mo-fan realize that he had to train harder in order to pay off and be at the right level. The fact that the Mew family has his heritage and ice elementals is no match for his mastery of the 2 elements. It is almost impossible to awaken the 2 elements. Seriously? Why isn't this student learning from me? Teacher Zhang Jiangyo has recruited good students for himself. Xiu Muxing said enviously. Mubai was surprised and shifted his condescending gaze to the student who had awakened the lightning element. The element of lightning is amazing, but if no one knows how to develop it, it is useless. If he decides to get in my way, I can put him down. Oh, I almost forgot that trash. Mo-fan is now awakening, he must have failed. Wow, another one with the element of fire. Amazing, there's another student with fire magic in our class. Who says he's failing? He has awakened the element of fire, I am so jealous. The light illuminated room began to fade, and the children could see Mo-fan and his awakened element. The girl who had awakened the fire element earlier was surprised when she took a closer look at the flame. It was certainly stronger than her flames when she awakened her magic. There's another fire elemental in class 8. Although fire is not as rare an elemental as lightning, it is quite powerful. Fire. The element of fire, said Muxing with a certain slowness. The element of lightning in the student from the next class made him forget about his problem student, he thought. I thought he couldn't manage to awaken the magic. But he awakened such a powerful element. That's definitely the trump card of the class. If you look closely, his strength is more powerful than Ju Min's. Xiu Muxing really didn't expect this student to be able to raise their class. Yes. Very good. What's the name? Oh, right, Mo Fan, mouthed Xiu Muxing quickly, squinting with pleasure. Yes, nodded Mo Fan. Mo Fan thought that even if someone had seen his lightning, he would have thought it was an echo of magic from a nearby class. Perhaps it was because the event was shocking to the school, or maybe Fan's magic wasn't strong enough to blaze brightly. The flame gets stronger depending on the development. But even if the magic is weak, it can be developed and becomes more powerful. Initial knowledge is not the deciding factor. The element of fire, you should put more effort in the future. If you have any questions, go to your teacher and ask, said Muxing, patting Mo Fan on the shoulder. Joy settled in Mo Fan's heart. Nevertheless, Mo Fan did not allow himself to open up and say that he had awakened the lightning element, or as it might be called, the thunder element. If it were any other teenager in his place, he would probably brag. Mo Fan didn't want to draw attention to himself and become the subject of everyone's envy. Mo Fan knows that the Mu family is hostile to his family, so now that he has awakened the two elements, he wants to lay low because he is weak. It is better to gain strength and develop his abilities. Mo Fan looked at the twisted faces of Mu Bai and Zhao Kun-san. This is what he wanted. That brat, how come he didn't not only fail the awakening, but he also awakened the element of fire, said Mu Bai, cursing the boy quietly. What the hell, how is that possible? It's the fire element, muttered Zhao, staring stupidly at the stone. Har har. Like I said, Mo Fanji, it was certainly extraordinary. Simply amazing. Zhao Kun-san bit it out, Zhang Hu gibbered, bouncing excitedly. The mentor's face became frowny, as if the boy had broken a rule. Zhao Kun-san glared angrily at the boy, thinking about his wind element, which would definitely lose to the fire element. Mo Fan smiled as he turned around, making the girls squeal with delight, and he felt a lightness in his soul. Mo Fan walked past Mu Bai, calmly showing him the middle finger. This lasted about a second, as if they were saying hello or goodbye. Mu Bai was outraged by this action, barely restraining himself from responding to the provocation. He took a deep breath and ordered himself to calm down, maintaining his image so as not to stoop to Mo Fan's level. After all, he is the young master of the Mu family, and Mo Fan is the son of a commoner. This trash, even if he has awakened the element of fire, he is still trash. What annoys me more is that this guy with the lightning element has drawn all the attention to himself, not like my ice. Damn, cussed Mu Bai. Mo Fan returned to his seat and felt the looks in his direction change slightly. He has a fiery element, we shouldn't try to provoke this guy. I'm not going to provoke him. I want to be friends with him. I've awakened the element of light, and if I get bullied, I can count on his support as a big brother. That's right, his name is Mo Fan, isn't it? Mo Fan heard the other students, but his gaze was fixed on Mu Bai, who was smiling even though he also heard the students talking. Mo Fan knew what kind of man this Mu Bai was. So was the fact that he was now hiding his anger and envy under that fake smile. When Mo Fan awakened the fire element, Mu Bai was already turning green with envy. I wonder what will happen when he finds out that Mo Fan also has control over the element of lightning. Will he kill himself? Summer passed quickly, autumn leaves falling on the schoolyard. Somewhere in the schoolyard, the sun was shedding interesting patterns through the gaps in the trees. Time flies very fast. 2 months have passed since the talent awakening. On the first day, teacher Xiu Muxing told the students about the most important thing, how to create magic. This simple process didn't take long. There are only 3 steps. The first step, spiritual meditation. The second step, establish control. Step 3, create magic. Spiritual magic requires total concentration. When people close their eyes, many thoughts run through their heads. If one is distracted by various unnecessary thoughts, one can easily become confused. As for those who have been able to awaken magic, they should find themselves in their spiritual world and not waste their energy on empty thoughts. When Mo Fan closed his eyes, he did not let his thoughts distract him. He saw again the place where his two stars are. Lightning and fire. The colors of the lightning stars are like the colors of the galaxy, beautiful, colorful, and enchanting. Around this large star revolved 7 small ones, like naughty children, energetic and lively. When all the students can quietly observe their stars within themselves, then the first step, spiritual meditation, is complete. Although this step is simple, all the students repeated it every day as homework. They would start meditating in the afternoon. When they were tired, they would go to bed. The next day, after class, they would meditate again until they were tired. And so every day. Mo Fan was diligent in his cultivation. For 2 months, including weekends, he meditated. Many times he wanted to ask his teacher, why do they have to repeat this step for so long? Maybe I can establish control, thought Mo Fan, feeling quite experienced in spiritual meditation. He wanted to try out the next step. The second step is actually very simple. After spiritual meditation, everyone sees a star inside themselves and 7 smaller ones that are spinning haphazardly around. Establishing control is to consciously control these stars so that they stop where you want them to or make them move in a certain direction. When they successfully pass the second step, only then can the magicians try to summon their magic. Okay, come on, let Daddy touch himself, Mo Fan spoke softly, trying to connect with his stars. Using his mind, Mo Fan tried to control the 7 stars. Wanted to make at least one stop moving. The little star was indifferent to Mo Fan, ignoring his exertions and running away from him. Damn it! Naughty! Okay, well. I'll just try with the other one. Mo Fan reached for the second star. Daddy here, be a good star and listen to me. The second star also, like the first, quickly escaped from him and his control. Mo Fan tried to repeat the same thing with the other stars, but the result was the same. They began to move faster. Until the stars became obedient, continuing to move chaotically, he would not be able to summon his magic. Using a specific path for the stars to follow, the mage must get them to move coherently so that the accumulated energy would flow to the mage for use. Unfortunately for Mo Fan, he was unable to control any of the stars. One might as well not try yet. These stars seemed to sense that they wanted to be subdued and run away. How am I supposed to do that? How many months or years will it take me before I can create even a small burst of energy, thought the boy. The first defense skill in lightning is lightning strike. Of all the skills, it is the defense skill that is the most outstanding, especially for combat. Unfortunately, it's not easy to learn these skills. The little stars orbiting the big one are too fast. You can't establish control in a day or 2. It will take longer. I have a long way to go if I want to control all the stars. The weather was getting colder, and students were wearing warm clothes instead of their usual fall clothes. The winter season was approaching. Damn! I must study harder. If I succeed, with my fire element, I'll survive the winter quietly, thought Mo Fan sitting on the roof early in the morning, practicing. It had been about a month since his last practice. Mo Fan was only able to control 4 stars. The process of establishing control is like building dominoes. In other words, you have to build all 4 stars carefully, or they will collapse all over and you have to start over. Slowly and slowly, so the chance that everything will go well will be higher. Also happens with all the stars, they resist, behave unpredictably, which complicates the process and takes a long time. You have to concentrate and do your best. You can't even pay attention to the headache that appears after all these machinations, because it detracts from concentration. Clenching his teeth, Mo Fan tried to control the 4 stars to move them to another place. Each time he would have to start with the first in order to build all 7 correctly. After the first, spend effort on the second and beyond. If he is careless and concentrates too hard or too weak, he will start over again. The teachers said that the second step is the most difficult of the 3, for not only do you have to control the stars, but also their destructive spiritual power. After each such workout, which Mo Fan goes through every day for the best effect, he feels exhausted and tired, and he begins to get headaches. After the workout, he does not always find the energy for spiritual meditation. This establishing of control eats up all his energy. With Mo Fan's current level of cultivation, he can't spend more than 2 hours a day practicing. The fourth little star is now completely under my control. I must try my best and take control of the fifth. It's hard. I wonder if I can get control of all of them by the end of the semester. Someone said that most students spend an hour a day practicing, and not always. I, on the other hand, practice for 2 hours. Could it be because I awaken 2 elements? Mo Fan asked himself. The power needed to control the stars depends on the main star, and I have 2. That's probably why I'm a little different from them. Nevertheless, with a 1-hour advantage, Mo Fan's diligence was paying off. Mo Fan surpassed his classmates, even Newby, as one of the boys said, controls only 3 stars. Of all 7, Mo Fan controls 4, he is expected to establish control of the 5th within the next week. A perfect progression of events. I will reach the 7 stars and soon be able to marry the little princess. 8 o'clock in the morning, Mo Fan walks into the office. Zhang Jiangyo is teaching them today. About this apprentice, Zhang Jiangyo was ready to talk all day long, with pride and a smile. This guy controls 4 stars, and I'm already 6, thought Fan to himself as he leisurely made his way to his seat. Open your textbooks to the page on magical beasts. Today I will continue this topic. As we all know, magical beasts live outside of our city and they are very aggressive against humans. Although they fight among themselves as well. So, what will you do if you meet a one-eyed magic wolf in the forest on your way? Asked Zhang Jiangyo. The one-eyed wolf. It is one of the magical beasts that made their nests near human settlements. Mo Fan had only seen them in books and videos, but even so they looked terrifying. Ordinary people cannot do anything against these beasts, only a mage can fight them. Although, if a mage didn't know spells, he was no match for a wolf either. Zhang Jiangyo had already spent a week lecturing about this wolf. Mo Fan was already tired of hearing about it. At this point, Mo Fan has successfully gained control of the 6 thunder stars. He can already calmly organize their orbital formation. The only problem is the 7th star. If you are soft or assertive, she does not listen at all, which alarms Mo Fan. Fan Ji, how's your fire elemental training going? Asked Zhang Hu, sitting behind Mo Fan. As usual, replied Mo Fan vaguely. The element of fire. When Zhang Hu asked this, Fan realized that he did not control a single star of the fire element. It's not very good. I don't think that's your real level. I've heard that Newby controls 4 stars in his ice element. If he trains harder during the winter break, he will surely master the ice wave, said Zhang Hu. I know. Fan Ji, why aren't you worried about it? I know that this villain is probably already plotting his intrigues on you. It's okay, let him come to me if that's what he wants. Mo Fan was only thinking now about how he could establish control of the 7th star, everything else was unimportant. Anyway, you have to be careful. This semester will be over soon, you must train harder next semester. If you can't master your first spell by the end of the 2nd semester, the school might kick you out. With the end of the 1st semester coming up, Mo Fan had a vague feeling that he would soon be able to control the 7th star as well. Damn, this training is harder than I thought. Even praying to the goddess all day long isn't as exhausting, Mo Fan complained to himself as he walked out of school. Mo Fan spent the entire semester without leaving the school complex, spending 10 hours on spiritual meditation and 2 on star control, also wasting time eating and sleeping. At the end of the semester, all students go home after taking their homework. On reflex, Mo Fan was about to take the bus that led to his old house when he remembered that he no longer had that house. He had almost forgotten that his father had sold that house so Fan could study. His father, Mo Xing, probably spends all his time driving and is too busy to think about him. So Mo Fan decided to check on his sister. It had been 6 months since they had last met. He was a little worried about her. We should go straight to the school and pick her up. Mo Fan got on another bus that was going to his sister's high school. Sitting on the bus, Mo Fan began to cultivate, from nothing to do, trying to establish control over the 7th star. Different stars had different personalities, each requiring a different approach. Mo Fan spent several nights trying to connect with the last star, but this star was quite irritable. When he broke out of control, he took more spiritual energy than the others. After breaking with the 7th star, he felt her irritable temper. Fortunately, she hadn't been doing as much damage to Mo Fan lately. And, instead of resisting and getting out of control, sometimes she let herself be controlled. Come on. Do as I want. Mo Fan calmed down and tried again to gain control of the 7th star. The first sprocket was the most obedient, for it was the first to be activated every day. Now it was becoming slow at the mere thought of Fang. The second one resisted a little, but afterwards it moved after the first one. Then the third, the fourth, the fifth. The sixth didn't even resist. Oh yes, now it's just you. Mo Fan concentrated all his strength on the 7th star. The 7th star began to move faster before Mo Fan began to do anything. However, Mo Fan managed to pick it up a little. With a lot of resistance, it slowly approached the other stars. Good star, that's it. Mo Fan, seeing that the 7th star had risen into the ranks, was worried. The other 6 stars are like obedient dogs who will sit still, but the 7th is like a cat that walks by itself, restless and fickle. As long as you're in control, I've got to tame it, the boy gritted his teeth. Slowly, slowly. The 7th star finally settled down, following its orbital trajectory along the other 6. Suddenly, a violet beam swept across the stars like lightning, causing the 7 stars to follow. It was like a meteor circling a star. Now you can cast a spell. Mo Fan was sitting in his black jacket in the back seat of the bus when purple rays appeared around him, covering Fan with power. Lightning strike. I can now use the lightning strike. Mo Fan was very happy and couldn't help but laugh. Arcs of lightning appeared on the boy's right arm, covering his arm like a snake. The lightning was directed toward the bus. Oh my god! Wizard! There's a wizard! Lightning magician! Wait a second. Why do I feel dazed? Shrieks were heard on the bus, an old lunch lady, a grown man coming home from practice, a girl who was playing on her phone and one pervert who was molesting a girl. All looked at Mo Fan in shock. Great, great wizard, I won't do it again, please. I beg you. A middle-aged man bowed his head to the ground in fear, begging Mo Fan for mercy, sniffing his nose. This pervert thought that Fan had seen his pathetic behavior and was therefore enraged. Lightning struck, looked terrifying, everyone on the bus was stunned, especially the bully. He felt like he was paralyzed. I'll take your dog's life. If I see you again, you'll be without both your arms. Mo Fan stood up abruptly and looked threateningly at the molester. Yes, there won't be a next time, I promise it won't happen again. The molester ran out of the bus as soon as it stopped. Aunts and uncles praised Mo Fan. Even some young men looked at him admiringly. Mommy, Big Brother is amazing, can I be like him when I grow up? Asked a 7-year-old boy, tugging his mother's skirt lightly. Not everyone gets a chance to be a wizard. Not to mention the element of lightning. Realizing that his magic had caused a commotion on the bus, Mo Fan hurriedly left the bus and got off at the next stop. As Mo Fan walked toward the school, he couldn't calm down, he was worried. So amazing. So damn amazing. He remembered the sensations of lightning streaming down his arms. The mere thought of making people shit themselves with fear was still impressed on him. Is this the consummate power? Is this magic? It really is magic. Mo Fan could hear the rhythm of his heart. He thought about the fact that as he felt the power of the lightning flowing through him, he could also feel his spiritual world. Now he could fight. He didn't even think such power existed. Everyone on the bus looked at him in awe, and this pervert was on his knees with wet pants, just seeing his lightning bolts around his hands. This was a completely new and highly amusing experience for Mo Fang. Har har har, I learned how to use magic in just one semester. Not even Mewbai can stop me now, har har har. The deadline for students to learn magic is 1 year, but Mo Fan learned it in almost 6 months. From the beginning to the end of the semester was 5 months. If you publicize this fact, both teachers and students, even other schools, will be amazed. That magical beast teacher bragged that his student, the genius Wang Mingkai, controls for stars, just like Mewbai. Har har har, now I can use elemental magic. If Mewbai finds out about this, he'll turn green with envy. The power I feel wanted to break out. I wonder what would happen if I let it out? God, the more I think, the more I like this idea. Calm down, take a deep breath. I can't laugh in the middle of the road like an idiot. I'm the great wizard now, I need to calm down. Mo Fan really wished he could release his magic one more time. However, after using magic on the bus, he felt slightly dizzy and empty. Is this the spiritual exhaustion the teacher was talking about? The boy asked himself. Normally, Mo Fan could practice for 2 hours a day and only feel spiritually exhausted afterwards. He trained for about 20 minutes while sitting on the bus, but he was already exhausted. Was it magic that affected him this way? Mo Fan thought it was caused by his incomplete spiritual meditation. He shouldn't have exhausted so much energy going from control to practice. If he formed the right spiritual meditation path, magic would not consume so much of his energy. With good cheer, Mo Fan headed toward the high school, humming the tune from the song My Little Apple. Mingwen is a private school attended by the pampered fashionable girls of Xia City. Compared to other schools, there is no 9-year magical education here, but there is a club whose members know a little more about magic. Some of them even wear magical devices as jewelry. These students are mostly from mage families, and these decorations are worn to nourish their spiritual power, while Mo Fang needs to rise to it step by step. The road around the school is littered with luxury cars, waiting for classes to end. Knowing Xia, she will take a detour and exit through the back gate, walk along the path behind the school and enjoy the scent of the bamboo park. Mo Fan walked past the main gate, toward the alley where the path ends, to wait there for his sister Xia. Few people know about this path, but Mo Fan has passed by this alley many times. The world has changed, but the city itself hasn't changed a bit, not even this bamboo park. The world has changed, but this familiar city has not changed. The small bamboo trees enduring all winter along the avenue still unchanged. I think Xinxia probably hasn't changed either. Mo Fan leaned against the wall like a bully waiting for defenseless students, glancing down the path from time to time. He thought he would surprise the girl, but she, for some reason, still didn't show up. Why isn't she here yet? Mo Fan looked up, closing his eyes and about to meditate. Suddenly, from the side of the hill, the boy heard loud voices. They were far away, but he heard them nonetheless. Could it be because of cultivation? Curious about this, Mo Fan approached a small hill. From the alleyway, right at the foot of the mountain where his old house stood, there was a small park in which hanging vines were used instead of swings. Mo Fan saw a girl with long black hair, the wind playing with her hair, exposing her beautiful face and neck. Long eyelashes, a small nose and pink lips. The girl was looking somewhere ahead, looking like a lotus flower in the middle of the cold desert. Mo Fan was stunned as he looked at her, not realizing how a smile spread across his face, his heart filled with inexplicable warmth as he snapped out of his reverie. He sensed that something was wrong. He walked over to the girl sitting on the swing. The girl also felt someone approaching, but was not surprised by Mo Fan's appearance, giving a gentle smile, as if she knew he was coming and was waiting for him there. Mo Fangage, as she used to call him in a quiet voice. It's because of those dogs again, isn't it? Asked Mo Fanya sternly, angrily, but Xinxia remained silent. I'll nail those bastards, muttered Mo Fan, staring angrily at the hillside. There's a lot of people with them, just forget it. I'm not going to let them get away with this. I'm going to throw this garbage away, said Mo Fan, heading for the mountain. Xinxia wanted to stop Mo Fan, but he had already moved away. Xinxia knows that Mo Fan will still go to fight the bullies. Even though he managed to fight them off, he would come home injured afterwards. She was worried about him. These men were mostly local hooligans who had long since dropped out of school and called themselves the Green Bear Gang. To have more prestige, they became the lackeys of rich girls, bullying, so to speak, to order. That is, those who the rich fashionable girls didn't like. There were 5 men with 2 others of larger builds, dressed in blue and black. If they fight, surely Mo Fan will not be without bruises. In a small pavilion at the top of the hill. "Hey, Zubing, if you decide to do that, you have no style at all," said a teenager with a cigarette in his mouth, playing poker. "No style? What do you mean? I've asked her to be my girlfriend 16 times. And now I'm waiting in this pavilion for her decision, giving her time to think," said another guy, apparently Zubing, dressed in blue, a tattoo on his neck conspicuous. "Oh, well, if she turns you down again, that'll be the blow," said the guy with the cowboy hat on his head. "You're a lucky man. Let's play a few rounds before it gets dark, though I don't think that chicken will panic," Zubing said, clearly enjoying her position. "Well, if you're dealing with a lady like her, such a shy girl, it's too hard not to want her, or rather not to want to do something to such a naive and sweet girl. Anyone who sees her starts drooling, even though they try to hide it. Let's just take her and no one will say anything." "Yeah. That chick also has a brother who's really annoying," said the other guy. "He's not capable of anything anyway, he doesn't even know how to fight. Treat him like a sandbag. Just hit him and that's it," Zubing said. "I can even handle him alone. Especially now that I'm more pumped up. I need to test my strength. Tell me, Zubing, hasn't your taste become a little strange? I understand that this bird is beautiful, but is it okay to do that to her?" asked the smoking teenager. "I think so, too. There are other girls out there, rich and not. Just tease them a little and they'll give in. Why do you want her?" "You know, it's called taste," Zubing said, glaring fiercely at the others. The group was displeased by Zubing's words, but when they looked up, they saw a boy dressed in a black jacket heading for the pavilion. "Hey, he looks familiar, doesn't he? Har har har, speak of the devil. That kid is that chicken's brother. This guy has always gotten in my way, I'll look forward to seeing him. I didn't think he'd be so stupid as to come to me himself. Since my friends are here, let's show him where the crayons are, see what you have to say later." "Brothers, get your guns out," Zubing said, looking at everyone coldly. "Gay, we didn't get them," whispered the smoking guy to Zubin. "Since this is the guy Zhao Kun Sanji told us about, we'll take care of him." One of the guys took off his jacket, playing with his muscles. Mo Fan looked at the 5 people who called themselves the Green Bear Gang as if they were animals. "Boy, I want to tell you that I like your sister. It must be a blessing for her that Zubing dreams of her, even without regard to her disability. That's the kind of girl even a saint wouldn't want. I think that a man who wants her should already be treated like a booter," Zubing said, pointing his finger at Mo Fang. After a long silence, Zubing's patience faded. "Don't be so problematic. Now, little brother, looking at you and your family, I would have fallen behind, but Zhao Kun-san and Mubai wanted something from you. At least break your legs so you could accompany your sister in the same wheelchair," said the muscle-bound guy dressed in a white vest. Hearing this, Mo Fan panted often. Looking at the pavilion, he saw that the wheelchair was being used as a card game table. Mo Fan was angry to see his sister's wheelchair being used by these scumbags for their games. He was really pissed off, his chest heaving with his breath. "Disability?" Mo Fan vowed that anyone who dares to humiliate Shinxia, I will make him regret it. "Cut the crap. Now let's take this scumbag to the 9th circle of hell. I'll be enough, just watch me," muttered the muscular guy with a sneer. Mo Fan stared coldly at this guy. The rest of the thugs didn't even notice that a purple light was now blazing in his eyes, creating a spiritual path for the release of magic. He was like a volcano about to spew lava. "Do you guys really think I'm still the same brainless idiot and punching bag you are?" A restless force surrounded the boy, waiting for the command to start. "I'll let you animals taste the lightning." As soon as Mo Fan said this, all 7 of his stars took a magical path, about to pass over the boy's right arm. Tilde TZ tilde arcs of lightning slid down Fang's body like snakes, gathering in his right hand, crackling menacingly. "Oh my god! What is that? Why is lightning crackling around his body? This guy, he's a magician," said Zubing. "Even though they are a pretty well-known gang around here, they are nobody against the magician. Garbage. How can he be a magician?" Zubing and his support group were extremely shocked, wetting their pants. The lightning element, the lightning strike. When the invocation of magic was completed, this time correctly, Mo Fan raised his hand, opening his palm, which provoked another sharp sound, as if a legion of warriors had drawn their weapons. Destroy, with Mo Fang's anger spilled out and the force obeyed the command. When he fully unclenched his fist, the lightning bolts were released and whipped Zhu Bing and the muscular fellow, leaving a distinctive mark on the ground. Zhu Bing and the strong muscular guy lay motionless on the ground as if they were dead dogs, but the lightning kept hitting them with a kind of whip, burning their tender flesh. They screamed in pain, but the lightning snaked around them, squeezing their bodies. The lightning continued to terrify the two others, who were still shaking with fear. It seemed to them that the devil was before them now, not a man at all. The guy who had been smoking before collapsed to his knees, trembling with fear. Another, though the zipper didn't reach him, stood with wet pants and drips on his boots. The buzzing and magical violet swirls began to subside. The air in the small pavilion was filled with burnt flesh. Even the plants were affected. There were two men lying on the ground, twitching from time to time in convulsions, like a fish pulled out of water. The other three were too scared to move. Mo Fan's older brother. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Have mercy, please. Don't kill. We won't anymore, said the smoking guy, in whose eyes Mo Fan was scarier than the devil. You, great magician, please have mercy on us. A group of scum, don't kill us. We beg you, said the guy in jeans. The two of their group that were lying on the ground looked too horrible, the others didn't want to follow them. The anger in Mo Fang's heart subsided following that lightning strike as he looked at the injured two and the terrified three. Send them to the hospital, Mo Fan said calmly. In fact, Mo Fan didn't expect his elementary punch to be so powerful. It will be his own spell. If he improves it, achieves better control and power, he will soon be able to burn not only the five, but also this small pavilion in one blow. In a way, it's very good that no one died, otherwise it would have been a big problem. Yeah, we'll do it right now, said the teenager in the cowboy hat, taking a chance on life. The other two didn't dare stay where they were and went to help lift the victims. But when they wanted to touch the bodies, they were affected by residual magic. Call an ambulance, but you will pay for your own medical expenses, Mo Fan said coldly. Yes, I've already summoned them. The boy's anger disappeared. It was hard for him to hide his joy over his success in magic. He could not rejoice in front of everyone now, or he would look foolish. He walked over to the pavilion and threw off all the cards, quickly making his way down with the chair. The trio looked at Fang with fear. They jumped when Mo Fan suddenly turned sharply toward them. Oh yeah, if anyone asks, they wanted to steal electricity. If you tell anyone about me, I'll make sure you're silenced forever. At least I've heard that the police don't care about dealing with magicians, especially if the civilians themselves provoke the magician, Mo Fan reminded them. The trio nodded like woodpeckers. No one is more obedient. About all that's happened, I hope you know what to tell Zhao Kun-san and Mu Bai, as if casually asked Mo Fan. We haven't found or seen you. Okay, smarties, if I find out what they know, you understand what I can do, don't you? Yes, boss Mo Fan, good day to you, sir. The trio bowed respectfully and fearfully. Fan nodded and wheeled the baby carriage away. By intimidating them with such cruelty, he was sure they would not coddle his abilities or reveal it. At least now he can do simple spells. Mu Bai is still learning, so if those bastards have brains, they won't say a word to anyone. Those five are just pawns, and when the time comes, I'll pay those two back in full. Going down the slope, the boy couldn't stop laughing. A few months ago, sitting in boring classes and looking out the window, he couldn't have imagined that something like this would ever happen, that he would so easily take out scumbags like those five. He felt like it was all a dream. Who would have thought he would feel such excitement today? Those five were like tame dogs. The boy couldn't be happier. The power of lightning is very powerful. I wonder what fire magic will be like? The annual evaluation will be in the next 6 months. I have time to subdue and master fire magic and the elemental spell, flame, excitedly thought Mo Fan. However, such elemental spells are not the only ones. They can be quite weak, but become more powerful over time. What did the teacher call the improved wind magic spell with which you can fly? Wings of the wind. God, this is such an amazing opportunity. I could fly anywhere I wanted to go. Even after a while, Mo Fan couldn't calm down, thinking about the current capabilities of humanity. About their federation, about magical knowledge, about new and interesting spells, about everything a mage could learn. Waiting on the swing, the girl with loose hair looked up to where the pavilion stood. That purple light, muttered Shinshia. She saw a purple flash that appeared above the pavilion and disappeared. But the girl remembered that light. A magician. She couldn't figure out where the midge was coming from in these parts. Why is magic where this gang is? Is everything alright with Mo Fan Ji? Yi Shinxia was worried about her brother and unconsciously bit her lip. Finally, she saw a familiar, approaching figure carrying a stroller. The boy's face was smiling stupidly. I'm glad he's doing well. Shinxia's heart finally calmed down. Shinxia, I've dealt with them, they won't come back and bother you again, said Mo Fan as he brought the wheelchair. I just saw a beam of lightning. I think it was an elemental spell, said Shinxia. Mo Fan laughed and looked at his sister with a proud expression. Shinxia suddenly lit up. She looked at him with eyes full of wonder. Was it Mo Fan Ji who summoned her? The boy didn't say, but acknowledged it with a smile. Really? Mo Fan Ji is a midge now? Asked Shinxia confusedly. Har har, you were one of the first to see my magic, said Mo Fan, suddenly coming close to the girl's face, which made the girl, who had not expected such a thing, blush thickly. Mo Fan, realizing he had gotten carried away, hurriedly explained himself. I'm sorry, I'm just too excited. Shinxia's voice was very soft when she asked, that light, are you really a magician? Mo Fan nodded. Our teacher said that the chance of awakening the magic of lightning is 1 in 1,000. It suppresses other magic and ranks first among the other elements. The girl was very happy for her brother. She knew about her family's circumstances, not to mention the fact that she had been left in the care of Mo's family, for no reason at all. Auntie said that Mo Xing had had to sell the house and their financial situation was terrible. She and Mo Fan are still young, and they can't help Mo Xing. The only thing to do now is to study well and become a wizard to help overcome the family crisis afterwards. Mo Fan Ji is so strong. He has learned magic in such a short time. Hey, that's weird. Shinxia realized something. Her beautiful eyes were no longer looking at Mo Fan. Mo Fan asked seriously, what happened? You awakened your element in less than 6 months. As far as I know, it takes a lot of talented people a year to get their spells right, said the girl. Mo Fan was shocked with surprise. Do talented people need a whole year to master magic? It took me 6 months to learn basic magic, that's really fast. The only problem is that Mo Fan doesn't know about it. From what he knows, it took me by 6 months to take control of 4 stars and start working on a 5th, that's okay too, right? Why is she looking at me like I'm a monster? Is it really that unusual to master magic in 6 months? You just said it takes a year for talented people, but what is their talent level? Asked Mo Fan cautiously. Mo Fan did not want to expose himself to danger because of ignorance, because he came to this world from another. Mu Ning Xiu is considered the most talented of Bo City, even training with other geniuses. It took her 8 months to master basic magic. Shinxia said. 8 months, said Mo Fan. What kind of man is Mu Ning Xiu? She is the only one from Bo City who was immediately accepted into the Imperial University. She is a reflection of the Mu family, trained in magic since childhood and not deprived of resources. Other mags just dream of that privilege. The reason everything revolves around her is because of her consummate talent. Mo Fan was very excited. If Mu Ning Xiu was world famous for mastering everything in 8 months, his 5 months would simply make the world crumble. Mo Fan Ji, you don't learn bad things. I heard from an old scholar that the only ones who mastered everything with such speed were those who came from the Black Church, whispered Yi Shinxia. The methods that the Black Church uses could allow for a significant acceleration in cultivation, but even Shinxia could not understand how they would be able to cut the training in 5 months. She knows that her brother is very smart. A Black Church? How is that possible? Yes. I didn't actually awaken my talent in high school. I met an old man much earlier, and he called out to me and said he saw talent in me. When I asked him who he was, he said he was a member of a magical association and could help me. So all in all it took me more than 5 months, quickly explained Mo Fan. Shinxia listened to his silly explanation, then, to the boy's surprise, said that, when the element is awakened early, there may be side effects, but since it is a magical association, there shouldn't be any problems. Mo Fan could breathe a sigh of relief because Shinxia did not come back to this question. Damn it, now I really feel like a monster. I guess I have to figure out the world around me after all, so I don't get caught like this anymore. 5 months of cultivation can only have to do with a Black Church, the boy asked. Yes, replied Shinxia seriously. Mo Fan was covered with cold sweat. Being too amazing isn't so good. Originally, Fan wanted to tell his sister that he also wielded fire magic, but realized that now was not the best time. Now I have to go back to the library to look in the books and find out exactly what can be classified as a manifestation of the Black Church. It would be bad if I got branded because of my carelessness. Mo Fan went to his aunt's house with Shinshir to have dinner, although he originally planned to train the thunder element. However, the headaches thought otherwise. What's going on? What's wrong with my mind? Could it be because I used magic twice today? Could excessive use of magic be affecting my spiritual paths? I don't think it would have completely drained my energy. It's not like I used lightning on the bus. Or is it because I've summoned magic twice? Mo Fan had spent 5 months to subdue the element, thinking that the star's magic was big enough and he didn't need to keep track of the reserve level. But now he felt the tragedy of the situation. Normally the lightning star, in his spirit world, sparkled brightly and shimmered with all shades of purple, but now, his entire star system, 7 small stars, was dim. Mo Fan was shocked, but comforted himself that his star would recover its radiance, albeit slowly, after resting. It seems that the state of the star, and of the reserve as a whole, depends on the brightness of my star. The more often I use magic, the dimmer it will become. The star system stores elemental energy. No wonder teacher Xu Muxing told us to meditate every day, even if we really don't feel like it. It doesn't matter how talented a student is, if he won't cultivate, he's useless. Anyway, I'll think about it later, or I feel like I'm going to faint. Resting in the living room, the boy slept until dawn. Little Shinshir probably hasn't woken up yet. Mo Fan got out of bed feeling refreshed and awake. After meditating, he was satisfied with the thought that he had recovered half of his reserve, the stars and the main star gleaming peacefully. Yes, I shouldn't show my strength to strangers. People's envy knows no bounds. If the Mew family finds out that I have the power of lightning, I don't even know what they can do. I have to develop my fire element to confuse everyone, thought Mo Fan as he brushed his teeth. How can I pump up my skills regarding lightning and still forget about fire? Mo Fan was only able to develop his skills regarding lightning because he was completely fixated on this element. The annual evaluation will be at the end of the year, which means he must develop the element of fire during those 6 months if he does not want to show his skills. However, this will significantly slow the development of lightning. Mo Fan was expecting a slight change in his daily improvement program. He would now spend 10 hours a day training, 8 of which he would spend on spiritual development of the fire element and the remaining 2 on the lightning element. The lightning element will develop slowly, but Mo Fan will be able to maintain both elements so as not to forget the basic skills. It is quite difficult to spend 8 hours on one element, but others have not been able to sustain even 5. At lunchtime, Aunt Mo Ching returned from work. My aunt was an ordinary woman with an uncommon appearance, a lanky body, a yellowish face, but she was a very good person. Mo Fan, I heard from your father that you are studying at the Tianlan Magical School. If you study hard and become a mage, our bloodline will be added to the mage again. Mo Ching said. A magician in the family line. Our family has been poor for a long time. I can't even remember when we were pretty successful anymore. What about father, why isn't he here? Asked Mo Fan. He sends supplies to the mountains for the hunters. I really don't understand. He's an ordinary man. How can he be so brave as to go into these wild mountains? If he encounters magical animals, they'll swallow him, complained Mo Ching. Can magical animals be near a settlement? The boy asked. In contrast to the safe areas in the city center, it is dangerous to be near the outskirts. You can meet rare dangerous animals, even wizards sometimes die there, let alone ordinary people. Don't you think they find loopholes to get through? Haven't you seen the hunters' warnings about magical beasts? Several beasts have been spotted near Bo City, so we forbid you to go there. Mo Ching said. Isn't that an exaggeration? The boy asked, smiling awkwardly. Mo Fan read in books that magical animals can't be near people, especially since the government and big families regularly patrol the areas around the city to keep residents safe. Oh, you just read the books. What kind of mayor do you think would talk about danger? They have to avoid mass panic, and for that they say everything is fine to keep the peace in the city. In fact, there are always animals near the outskirts, sometimes within the city, we just don't see them, said Mo Ching quietly. Mo Fan was shocked to hear such information, but still smiled and replied, Auntie, you're being too paranoid about this. Fan, you may or may not believe it, but listen to what I have to say. You know I work in a hospital, so it's not gossip. Good, nodded Mo Fan. Fortunately, Auntie didn't start talking about her hospital, or else Mo Fan would have gotten bored. One night I went to get medicine that the doctor needed. There was a magician in the operating room and they were doing something together with the doctor. But one thing I could hear was, even though you are a doctor who can recognize poison, the entire staff has been poisoned and can't remember anything. Quickly, quickly, we must return to the Hunters Union and find that swamp beast before there are more victims of the attack, Mo Ching spoke softly. Auntie didn't seem like the kind of person who would make up stories like that. Can it be that beasts are free to roam around the city? That would be too terrible. Any encounter with the beast is akin to a death spell. How is father? Is everything all right in the mountains? Asked Mo Fan. I have no idea. Warned all citizens not to go near the outskirts. Your father said that a team who are not hunters want to attack the lair of the one-eyed wolf. Regardless of my warnings, he still goes to help them in this dangerous endeavor. Mo Ching said. Fang's face changed as he realized the danger. But the price is worth the effort. They get as much as they would pay for a mage trainee. But even with all those coins, I don't even know how they are there, said Mo Ching wistfully. Auntie, don't worry, I'm sure he will be very careful and nothing bad will happen. He is just being sent to deliver provisions. The road to the forests is also well arranged, said Shinxia. Oh, I hope he'll just work in the city, muttered Mo Ching. Listening to Auntie's complaints, Mo Fan became worried. No wonder, since he hadn't seen his father in 6 months. And he went out to work, going outside the city to earn his living. Even for mags there is the risk of death. No one will work there for a pittance. Mo Fan didn't sit around his aunt's house. He spent almost every day in the library of Tianlan High School. He needs to learn more about this world, like the Black Church. These people are like a terrorist organization, their activities harm people. And they are not squeamish about using people as practice material. Such people do not deserve pity. What else he has been doing is pumping up his level in fire magic. Knowing that in lightning magic he could only use 2 spells and then his reserve would be empty, he meditated more so that his spiritual paths would expand. He understood that he needed to develop not only the element of lightning, but also fire, so he would have to meditate more so that there would be enough reserve to use both types of magic. So he continues to study the basics. Absorbed by cultivation, Mo Fan did not notice how the days of vacation flew by. School was beginning. Mo Fan would now have to pretend to be the most backward again. Looks like something strange happened today. Mo Fan looked at Zhang Hu and was surprised that he was in such a hurry to get to school. This kid's eyes were like a curious monkey's, not like he could hear anyone at all. His eyes were wide open, as if he'd been drinking a heady tincture. Mo Fan looked around and noticed that many people behaved in the same way as Zhang Hu. What? Maybe the monster that Aunt Mo Ching was talking about was really walking around town. Otherwise, why do they look as if they were bewitched? Good morning, students. Your class teacher and practical magic teacher are sick. Starting today I will be replacing your class teacher and part-time practical magic teacher. My name is Tang Yu, said someone's voice. Accustomed to the old man's old voice, those outside were awakened by a woman's voice filled with power and sexuality. Even Mo Fan woke up. Mo Fan raised his head to look at the owner of the voice and was also fascinated. My god, it's not the swamp monster. It's the charming teacher who has all the guys mesmerized. Teacher Tang Yu was dressed in a classic suit, black skirt, jacket, and white blouse. The roundness above her waist looked dazzling. No wonder most students acted that way. It's terribly beautiful. The boys, who got that incentive, probably had to chase their little ones in the morning. You all awakened your magic 6 months ago. I hope you understand that the more power you have, the more control you need so it doesn't affect your bodies. Teacher Tang Yu began her lecture. Beginning in such a serious tone, she surprised many students. The teacher began writing important aspects of the lecture on the blackboard while the male half of the class dealt with a nosebleed. Damn, those roundels. Mo Fan's thoughts were the same as the others as he thought. You can't think about obscenity at a time like this, though that's what everyone does. I have to concentrate on the lesson and not let the younger me take over my mind. Nevertheless, I'm definitely not allowed to wear tight pants for the rest of the semester. The first lesson was practical magic. I wonder if Tang Yu's teacher will personally demonstrate magic herself, or just tell me how to cast spells correctly. Encouraging the class to take the lesson seriously, Tang Yu talked about the importance of spells for each element. Mo Fan compared it to his personal experience. He wondered if it was possible to use magic several times and still be less tired. The training ground was an area with several barriers scattered throughout the area. They absorbed energy, preventing injury from the outside. Look, now I'm going to use a spell for the element of fire, said the teacher, standing in the center of the field. The students who surrounded the teacher did not need to be told twice. They were already standing in a semicircle around the teacher so everyone could see. The element of fire. Mo Fan Ji, you must study hard. I can't believe Tang Yu's teacher, with such a beautiful, feminine face, turned out to be a fire mage, said Zhang Hufang. Oh, I'm going to learn everything thoroughly, Mo Fan said. Tang Yu leisurely continued her lesson. Her skirt was fluttering due to the waves of magic. It was obvious that this was her first lesson, otherwise she wouldn't have worn such tight clothes so as not to distract the students. When you meditate or use magic, you have to concentrate completely on your star. Even now, when I speak, I am completely focused on my fire star, said Tang Yu. Teacher Tang's voice reached every student. She looked like a statue, her hair fluttering like it was windy, but there was no wind as such. Control, you must be able to control your stars. It must obey you in order to open the magical path that magic will take. The teacher's voice was soft, but filled with pride. It was at this point that the boys stopped thinking about vulgarities and watched in awe. They admired the teacher. The feelings everyone felt came from the teacher because of her magic. The students marveled and revered the power of fire. They thought that the new teacher would also only tell theories that would help them use magic in the future. But the young teacher, Tang Yu, could tell and use magic at the same time, controlling her stars. Her level was clearly superior to that of the old teacher. Remember that after you've used magic, you shouldn't loosen your control, but just move them around a little bit. The commanding voice called out again, a wave of fire. That voice got everyone focused on the lesson. At the same time, striking red stars appeared around the teacher, floating around her before quickly coming together in Tang Yu's right hand. A breathtaking magic concentrated in her palm, then Tang Yu threw up her hand and stars flew out of her hand, hitting exactly on the targets that were placed on the range. What is it? Nothing happened. Apparently, it's just that kind of blow. An atmosphere of expectation hung over the field, but nothing was happening that showed the power of the teacher. As the students whispered, Tang Yu turned around, looking around at the 8th grade students. Her face lit up with a confident smile. Suddenly there was a roar, and the crimson lights that flickered on the targets flashed with twice the force, capturing their targets. The targets were engulfed in flames. A second, or 2 seconds. There was nothing in the air, but these flames were getting bigger and bigger, like a hungry beast. The teacher's hair seemed red because of the flames that raged on the range. Her smile amid this madness drew stares. The students couldn't get enough of that power. The whole 8th grade class was looking at the teacher. Mo Fan did not know what others felt, but his heart beat faster, not because of the teacher, but because of the power she wields. This flame makes one bow and feel fear. If a woman is not only beautiful, but also has these skills, no guy can remain indifferent. No one knows how many boys will revere the teacher like a goddess, but Mo Fan will definitely be on that list. Compared to other teachers, Tang Yu is on a completely different level. Mo Fan was shocked. The teacher had been using magic for so long, but her reserve didn't even think of depleting. She's on a completely different level. So, who are the fire mags in this class? Because I can't remember them. Tang Yu looked around at the students who kept their eyes on her. I have the element of fire, said the girl with ribbons in her hair who stood out at the waking ceremony. Ju Min kept her eyes on the teacher from the very beginning. She seemed to immediately dislike the teacher, the way she dressed, her soft voice. However, when Tang Yu showed her strength, Ju Min changed her attitude towards the teacher. Now she admired her too. Ju Min's mother is also a teacher. But she doesn't compare to Tang Yu, she doesn't have the same precision and strength. Me too, I too am a fire elementalist, teacher Tang Yu. I am Huang Fifeng, excitedly uttered the boy who had also awakened the elemental fire. Anyone knows that if you and your teacher have the same element of magic, you get special guidance, because you can share some tricks. Huang Fifeng felt happy because he had the same magic as his teacher. He even hoped that the teacher would admire not only his talent, but also fall in love with him, and in the future he would also become her lover. Don't stop me, I'm on the roof. Why didn't I awaken the element of fire, exclaimed Lu Xiaobin, who awakened the element of water. Master, I too have the element of fire. I am Zhao the Niu, said another boy, blushing. The teacher looked at the boy and, with a giggle, asked, You are very thin, why did your parents name you the Niu? NP, the Niu is a big shy cow. Because my body is weak, I guess my parents hoped I'd grow up strong and big. Your parents should have named you Zhao Kiari Zue, quipped Zhao Kun-san, making fun of the Niu's name. NP, Kiari Zue is a parrot. Just you. Tang Yu looked around the classroom. Only 3. One less. At first glance, only this girl, Ju Min, has good potential. More me, I'm Mo Fan, said Mo Fan, recovering from his shock and stepping out of the crowd. The teacher looked at Mo Fan, scanning him for progress. but she could only smile sourly. Mo Fan, you're brave for coming out of the crowd. Even after the first semester, you don't even control 1 star. Zhao Kun-san immediately said. At the end of the semester, the students were examined. Mo Fan was the weakest. The whole class remembers and knows about it, so Zhao Kun-san and Mu Bai don't need to talk about it every time. Such a fool, he will never change, though he has awakened the element of fire. He won't become a midge? You clearly have talent in the fire element, why is your level so low? Student Mo Fan, many people hope that you will become a midge. You have advantages that people only dream of. You should study harder. Tang Yu lamented. I understand, master, nodded Mo Fan. After perfection of the spiritual paths, the midge gains a more powerful spiritual power. They gain psychic perception, which makes them better able to sense their environment, including the other midge. A midge's level can be felt by other mags because the aura seeps through their bodies. Mo Fan has known this for a long time, so he prepared himself and learned to hide the presence of lightning magic. That's why everyone only senses his fire magic, which is really weak. That's how he was able to fool everyone. I just recently started training with fire magic. It seems that I will be able to surprise many people at the end of this semester, when I show them an extravaganza. Mo Fan thought confidently. Why is this girl looking at me so strangely? Isn't that Ju Min? It seems like I couldn't insult her in any way, so why is she looking at me so unfriendly? On the other side of the stall class was Ju Min, glaring angrily at Mo Fang. She was unhappy. Why is her talent worse than Mo Fang's talent? Teacher Xu Muxing, at the Magic Awakening, said that Mo Fan has a clear, bright flame, which means the level of strength. Now even teacher Tang Yu said that he has a good talent. There's no need to be angry at the worst student, because he's going to fail at the end of the year anyway. So let him be happy these 6 months. I really don't understand. He was born into a poor family and spent a lot of money to get into this school. He's awakened a great element of magic and is wasting his time. Does this guy even have a conscience? His family tried so hard. Thanks to one villain, everyone in the class knew that Fan entered through the back door, meaning he paid his tuition rather than passing with his knowledge. I think Xu Muxing, the teacher, warned you that at the end of the year the unqualified students will be asked to leave the school, only the elite will be left. If you get into the elite class, you'll have a better chance of getting into a magical university. So you have something to strive for. Tang Yu said. Teacher, will you be teaching an elite class? Someone in the crowd asked. Well, if all goes according to plan, then yes, I will be an elite class teacher, nodded Tang Yu slightly. Master, I, Wang Feng, redouble my efforts. Teacher, I'll work hard too. Tang Yu smiled softly, happy that her first lesson had brought so much enthusiasm into the hearts of the students. After you have established full control over the stars, you can come to me, and I can give you personal instructions for improvement. Continued Tang Yu. The class was making a fuss. Everyone's goal was now to get to control faster. I'm not that far off anymore, wait for me, teacher. Is that so? How much control do you have now? 2. I'm in control of 3, you lads. Wang Feng said proudly. Only 3? And you dare to brag? I already have 4, that's more than you, said Zhu Qinglin dismissively. You're just a bunch of clowns. You can't compare to Mu Bai, he already has 5 stars, he's about to reach 7. He will be consulted first. Zhao Kun-san said, mocking them. Damn it, that fast. 5. How could he do it so fast? I've heard that the lightning elementalist also controls the 5 stars. Listening to the people around him, Mu Bai felt himself at his best. Nevertheless, he did not show his jubilation. This Zhao Kun-san is stupid, but he knows how to intervene in a conversation in time. No matter when to humiliate or praise someone, he always grabs attention. I can't tell these wimps that I already have 5 stars. That might lower my credibility. But Zhao Kun-san's bragging is quite appropriate. He demonstrates my superiority without diminishing my elegance and dignity. Life is like a computer game. You have to not only show off your skills, but you have to know how and when to use your teammates. The weather should have warmed up by now, but the cold did not let up. There were thunderclouds in the sky all the time, and sometimes it rained. The weather in BOE was always very capricious this season. In the morning it would get warmer and the sun would appear in the cloudless sky, but by evening the clouds and rain would come again. Typhoon on the way? It's the damned weather. Every year it behaves the way it wants to, complained Zhang Hu in the dormitory. Zhang Hu, don't you have the wind element? Why don't you go out and try to do something, replied Lu Xiaobin. You're a water mage, so why don't you go out in the rain and do something too? You walk in the rain with an umbrella, aren't you ashamed? Said Mo Fanlu. Lu Xiaobin's face turned pale. He didn't think about it. The sky gets darker when it rains. When it rains heavily, so does the wind. Xiaobin's problem was that he only gained control of 4 stars. He still had a long way to go before he could use magic. Monkey Jianghu, can you really use wind magic? Show me. So far, we've only seen the fire that Zhu Min set, said another student, Cheng Tian. I can use it, but I'm not 100% sure of success, Jianghu muttered shyly. Jianghu, show us once, I want to see what wind magic looks like too. Mo Fan said, leaning over the book. There's too little room in the room. What about the hallway? Well, I can try, but I'm not qualified yet, nodded Jianghu. Toward the end of the semester, this talented boy became one of the few to control all 7 asterisks. All the curious people gathered in the hallway to watch Jianghu's magic. Jianghu closed his eyes and began to meditate to properly summon the magic. The buildup of power is slow because he is not so skilled in the use of magic. Everyone could hear the rhythm of his breathing. Suddenly the book on the table flipped over. The door opened with a nasty creak. Dust was rising from the floor. Dirty laundry from under the dormitory leader's bed began to fly, and he tried to catch his laundry, bouncing every now and then. The way of the wind. Hurry! Jianghu's temper changed, his eyes turned green, and the flaps of his robe fluttered in the wind. As soon as he cast the spell, the dishes from the next room crashed into the wall, as did the toothbrushes, the cups. Everything was moving in the same direction. Mo Fan followed the direction of the dishes. He was surprised to find that they were moving because of the wind, whose flow starts from Jianghu and ends in the toilet, at the end of the corridor. Suddenly, Jianghu himself began to move at incredible speed. Jianghu was moving in the same direction the other objects were pulling, toward the bathroom. What speed? Shouted Xiaobin. The other students quickly looked out into the hallway. However, just as they were about to approach him, he quickly dashed past them at incredible speed. Too fast. An elemental spell, a small space, but such speed. What happens when you increase the level of magic? Mo Fang's heart began to beat faster when he saw the speed Jianghu was moving. Help! Tilderbam! Everyone in the hallway was waiting to see how it would end, even though they already knew. Jianghu bumped into the bathroom door. Several water faucets broke and stinky sludge spilled onto the floor. The magic of the wind finally dissipated. Jianghu sat on the floor, blood running from his nose. It was very dangerous. At the end of it all, the underwear of the dorm head landed on Jianghu's face and followed the other items. Lu Xiaobin and the chief rushed to lift Jianghu and return him to the room. The chief quickly pulled out his underwear, seeing that it was stained with blood. Chief, did you start this day? Asked Xiaobin with a laugh. Go to hell. The chief looked regretfully at his favorite laundry and quickly tossed it in the trash. Mo Fan pondered the situation. The chief shouted at everyone to disperse to their rooms as if nothing had happened. The wind element is also great. The speed is lower than the car, but that's probably because Jianghu is still a beginner. You little bastards, the annual inspection is coming up. You idiots better watch yourselves and improve yourselves. Next time, I'll take care of you myself, shouted the man in charge. The day of the annual inspection has finally arrived. For many students, it's a nightmare day because they may be kicked out, sent back to their parents. If a student has not learned magic in that school year, they are kicked out of school and find uses for their powers in the community so as not to waste resources on them. But for some, this day marks their breakthrough. They can show their skill at using magic. The weather was warm, the summer breeze gently touching our faces. The Mu family estate. Mubai wore a white shirt with embroidered plum flowers and the same color pants, showing his noble origins. He always won the hearts of girls in this outfit. With his noble background, he did not look up to vulgar girls from inferior families. His target was that arrogant Mu Ningxiu. Of course, if teacher Tang Yu surrendered to his charms, he would gladly accept her. Mubai, you look good today. You know that every year resources are allocated to the child who shows the most potential, because afterwards he will present his contribution to the family. You should make a good impression on the Mu family. Mu he said, sending Mubai out in his car. At the annual inspection, Mu He, chairman of the Tianlan school, was present in person. Regardless of what Mu He said, it would all depend on Mubai and his magic. He must show his talent to the council members. Uncle, you can be sure of my success, said Mubai confidently. Remembering something, Mubai turned to his uncle and whispered, Uncle, I heard that Mu Ningxiu is also coming to Tianlan school. Yes. This is a very important day for Tianlan school. Mu Ningxiu returned for summer vacation, and I asked the head to ask her to give a speech at this event. He said he noticed the spark in Mu Bai's eyes. He knew exactly what was on his mind. Don't worry when it's your turn and the head and I will be watching you. You know that you will have to compete with many children of the Mu family. If you impress the head, you will get more resources for our family. And also a magical stardust device for 2 or 3 months. It would definitely do you good. A magical device? Really? Can I really use it? Of course, or do you think I'm lying? What do you think sets us apart from other families? Outstanding genes. That's good too, but magical devices help us improve. Uncle, I have to be better than everyone else. Mu Bai was hurt by this fact. No wonder the children of powerful families become magicians so quickly. They all use magical devices, while the rest of us spend 5 hours a day cultivating and learning theory. This device is coveted by everyone. Mu Bai doesn't know how it works, but he knows that because of it, mags don't tire as quickly, so they can cultivate and expand their spiritual path longer. Students spend 5 hours a day opening a spiritual path or establishing control over their stars. After that, they need another 19 hours to recuperate. But, thanks to a magical device with stardust, they cultivate longer and recover faster. If you use it for 2 or 3 months, it will already have an unparalleled effect. The difference between the peers will increase many times over. A person's talent is not so important. The device can help even the weakest to become the strongest. Uncle, you said that only elite class students can use this device, is that the one? Asked Mu Bai excitedly. Yes. Because it's a school, they have a lot of resources, but the number of these devices is limited. It's impossible to give them all out. That's why there's a yearly review, and the best ones are selected among them. Those students who excel today will get their devices. Looking at your progress, I can say with confidence that you will definitely get your device and have no problem getting into an elite class. I can't say anything about time, but you will definitely have an advantage after using your device. Still, school is a fair place. Not all commoners can get a device like that. You should treasure this opportunity, he said. Uncle, I won't let you down, I guarantee it. Mu Bai said. No matter what I say, you have to impress the head of Mu and Mu Ningxiu, said He, patting Mu Bai on the shoulder. Mu Bai nodded, but couldn't help but irony in his thoughts. Zhu Jiaoting, you may have drawn attention to yourself, but you certainly don't compare to me and the support that my family gives me. NP, Zhu Jiaoting is the boy who awakened the lightning. Yeah, by the way, what's up with that brat? Mo Fan, asked He nonchalantly, as if he remembered a pebble in the road. This garbage must be thrown out, Mu Bai said without hiding his disdain. Mu Bai really hated Mo Fang. Even though they are from different families, this Monkey King always played with everyone as a child, even Mu Ningxiu was close to him. Why? He was just running around and not paying attention to the fact that they were from different walks of life. Does he know what power is? Status? How ridiculous he looks, living his poor life, trying to swim from the bottom. The son of a servant has no right to a future, no right to ambition, he can only fight other tramps. I gave him a chance at magic because of that Moshing. I know that his son is a real fool, he can never become a magician. Alas, many people like to waste their money to try things they don't understand. Do they compare themselves to dragons? Poverty and incompetence, it seems, He said as he finished his cigarette. Mu Bai narrowed his eyes. You can tell by his face how much he despises and mocks the poor. Student dormitory, bro, there's going to be an inspection today. Hurry up, I don't want to be late, said Zhang Hu. You go first, I'll catch up later. Don't be late. Most of the students put on their uniforms and went to school for their annual inspection. Grades will also affect the end result, but the main thing depends on what the student has accomplished this year, after awakening to his power. The usual polygon turned into something strange. There were tables everywhere, marking a semicircle near a strange stone the size of a watermelon. This stone was an important tool for today's inspection. The annual examination is as simple as the waking ceremony. The student must place his hand on the stone, and the examiners will judge the student's ability by the brightness of his star. Just as in the entrance exam, everyone's fate depends on the examiner's grade. Either you will continue to develop, improving, or you will be kicked out, and you will find your own way. Remember what I told you, you have to show all the strength you've gained this year. 8th grade students must show their best. Make your stars bloom, said Xu Muxing excitedly. Teacher Xu Muxing, I'm sorry if I get kicked out this year, said the weak girl, looking at everyone excitedly, arousing the pity of the other students. Don't be pessimistic, everything will be okay. But I'm weaker. Even though I've been training, my star still looks very weak, said Hiyu. Hiyu, don't be afraid, even if you're not qualified enough, there's still me. There will be at least one midge in our family, said another student, Lu Jianhua. Shut up, you can't guarantee it yet. I'm not kidding, just wait for my turn, I'll blind you with my star shining, said Lu Jianhua proudly. Soon the chapter and examiners took their seats. The examiners were discipline instructors who intimidated most students. Hush, there will be important guests today. I hope you show your best side, Xu Muxing reminded them. The examiners will evaluate about 30 classes, among them 1,500 students, who are in groups based on talent. Before the examination, the principal gives his speech and after him the examiners give their speech. When He came up on stage, talking about a better future for every student, Mo Fan could not contain his laughter. His speech was about hoping for youth, but Mo Fan knows what this He is really like. Today is a special day. That's why we invited one of our city's outstanding girls, Bo. She was accepted into the Imperial University at the age of 15. I think many of you have already heard about her legendary achievements. Yes, this is Mu Ningxiu. Let's give her a round of applause. He said excitedly. His words awakened the disciples. Wow, that's Mu Ningxiu. I heard that when she awakened her ice magic, the ground beneath her froze. It's all a rumor. What is more accurate is that it only took her 8 months to take control of all 7 stars. 8 months? My god. It took me a year, and I still only control 5 stars. Is she really human? It doesn't matter. What matters is that she's beautiful and talented, she's the pride of BOE. Everyone began to discuss Mu Ningxiu. No one thought that today they would be able to see the genius that had become a legend. Fan Ji, it's a little princess. She really came to our school, Zhang Hu said excitedly. Fan looked into the arena and saw a beautiful girl. She was standing upright, resembling a lotus flower. Her white skirt swayed in the wind. However, what attracted everyone most was the lovely, stunning silver-colored hair. Despite the hot weather, she stood upright, like a fairy of snow and ice who had come into the world of mortals. Teachers and students stared at her in silent astonishment, staring at her without taking their eyes off her. They had heard many stories about her, but they had not yet seen her in person. Who would have thought she would look like an ice goddess? Even though she was a teenager, she looked her best. Cool temperament, white attire, loose snowy hair. Is this Mu Ningxiu? She is so elegant. How long ago was it when Mo Fan last saw her? 3 years ago. A group of children, they called her a little princess, for that was what she was in their hearts. She lived in a castle, wore beautiful dresses, and was very sweet and charming. But now, 3 years later, she is very different from her past self. She used to be cheerful and upbeat, but now it's like she's away from everyone. Is it really possible to change that much with age? Fan Ji, you must run away with the little princess, sighed Zhang Hu, looking at Mu Ningxiu. Apparently that collision with the door made you stupid. Oh, I'm just saying. Mu Ningxiu's brief speech seemed to rouse everyone. Everyone was eager to show their strength that they were worthy of admission to the university. The Imperial Magic University is one of the best universities in the country because they admit the really best. Mu Ningxiu is considered a genius already because she was admitted to university when she was in high school. Fan Ji, you have to work hard for 2 years and then you can get into university. Then even the Mu family won't be able to tell you anything about marrying little Prin. Hey, managed to mumble Zhang Hu before he was interrupted by Zhao Kun-san. Don't talk nonsense, he can't talk about university if he's already getting kicked out of school today. Zhao Kun-san, are you crazy? My Geiji hasn't hurt you once, why are you always barking at him like a dog? Regardless of social status, Zhang Hu is currently one of those who could already summon magic. Zhang Hu did not understand why Zhao Kun-san insults others, even though he himself only controls 3 stars. He didn't insult me, but I can't recognize him as part of society. I really don't understand how that asshole dared talk to a princess. He should know his place. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have sent my family either, Zhao scolded. The Zhao family is also considered servants of the Mu family. The servant has no right to vote. After all, gardeners are different from ordinary workers. Everyone must know his place. The Mu family's estate is so vast that it can accommodate not only hundreds but thousands of servants. If you listen to everyone, it turns out that half of the city could be servants of the Mu family. So it is not surprising that there are families like Zhao and Mo. Zhao Kun-san deeply hates Mo Fan. After all, he was the one who had the nerve to anger the head, causing many families to pay the price. Mo-fan, is there a thing in your skull called a brain? Even I know that some people dare not even think about talking to people like Mu Ning Xiu. If you are compared, it is like comparing a toad and a swan. Stop thinking about marrying Mu Ning Xiu, Zhao Kun told San Fang disdainfully. Mu Ning Xiu's appearance awakened old grudges in Zhao Kun-san that he had been hiding for years. Mo Fang's stupidity not only affects people, but also families. The princess must be at arm's length, no closer. This is not a fairy tale, because crossing the border can bring many disasters on yourself and other families that will make them unhappy. There was another representative of tyranny in the arena today, a middle-aged man with an arrogant expression on his face. This Mu Zhou-yun can destroy the city of Bo with just one wave of magic. Mo Fang was really annoyed by this man. You could say that it is because of him that his family is now in this state. Zhao Kun-san, shut up, said Zhang Hu. Why? Did I say something wrong? Replied Zhao. Mo Fan looked at Zhao Kun-san in silence. Some people understand what is going on only when there is nothing more that can be done. Those who laughed at the stupidity of others, who spend money to go to school if they get a bad grade, and then go to university and get a decent job, those who laughed at the stupidity of such people barely make ends meet, realizing that nothing can be recovered. Zhao understood that. Such thoughts showed his mature thoughts and intelligence, not those taunts. It is better to accept the harsh reality than to wait for your dreams and hopes to be shattered. But Mo Fan didn't consider dreams to be nothing. He was willing to turn them into reality, not laugh about it as Zhao did. Zhao Kun-san, you have good potential to be a good master dog. Such skill is to be admired. I respect your decision to give up everything, but the current Mo Fan will not tolerate that in his life. Mo Fan said, you bastard, even though I'm a dog, I eat well, wear expensive clothes, and have a home, unlike you, a homeless dog who eats garbage and looks like one. Your father even sold the house so you could go to this school, and you're getting kicked out today. It makes me want to ask your father if he regrets not getting rid of such an embarrassment sooner, cursed Fang Zhao. Mo Fang's criticism hit a nerve. Zhao was no fool and acknowledged that he was a dog. Mo Fan looked around and, seeing Mu Bai, responded to his gloating gaze. It was the young master who saw them then, as children, when they played carefree with the princess. Now their fate will change, as all the students think. Now Zhao Kun-san is looking for a chance to ruthlessly drive a knife into his back. Not bad, not bad. That bastard will know what it's like to be a dog when there's a well-practiced scheme around. A father's love for his son will pay off, if only in a few years. Stand down the talk. The annual examination is about to begin. Those who make noise will be disqualified, said the bold examiner. I don't think Mu Ning Xiu expects much from you. Seeing you get kicked out of school will make her regret that she once really wanted to run away with trash like you, said Mu Bai, not hiding his reproach, whispering this to Mo Fang. You have bad breath, I don't like shit, would you please get away from me, said Mo Fan demonstratively clamping his nose. It seemed as if Mu Bai's ears were going to burst with smoke. Let the arrogant bastard be angry. When they put him in the mud in front of Mu Ning Xiu, Mu Bai could not look at the girl without shame. Today I'm going to show Mu Bai what it's like to be the worst in the class. It doesn't matter if he gets kicked out and loses face in front of Mu Ning Xiu, but how can he lose face in front of Mo Xing, who sold his house, for this chance? It is the norm in the annual test if there are unqualified students, and it is entirely appropriate that they will be kicked out of school after failing. Nevertheless, there is a possibility that teachers will say about slow growth. Under normal circumstances, after awakening magic, if the student is not lazy, he will be able to awaken magic. So to make sure there are no such slackers, the school is doing this check to warn other students that they will not tolerate slackers. Impromptu assessment and instruction in school usually motivates underachievers. However, this did not work for Mo Fan, and teacher Xu Muxing got angry with Mo Fan at every lecture. The semester is over and the most important thing will be announced today. The results will be posted all over the school. Of course, a special gift was prepared for Mo Fang, and Mu Bai and his uncle did their best. This gift will be enough to make sure that Mo Fan will be the first to be so disgraced. They were incredibly lucky that Mu Ning Xiu would see his downfall in person. Thinking about it, Mu Bai cheered up. Tonight's performance would allow him to break through higher so that he would no longer have to put up with Mo Fan's presence. The annual evaluation begins. The testing process is very simple. Each student will place his hand on the stone and begin to meditate, releasing the spiritual path. The light that his star will emit will be his grade. Each will be given 3 chances, the brightest glow being their final result. The better they focus on the spiritual path, the brighter their star will be. The student is chosen at random. The first one to be tested was Hiyu. She was very nervous, and became more anxious with each look directed at her. "You may begin," said the bold examiner. "Hiyu, you can do it. We believe in you," said teacher Xu Muxing. "It doesn't matter how well you turn in, I'll still be on your side," said an equally nervous Zhang Jinhua. The girl timidly closed her eyes and put her hand on the stone, opening her spiritual paths. The students fell silent, staring intently at the girl. No one knew why, but the girl was transformed and now looked confident, not a trace of panic. The device glowed, absorbing Yu's energy. The more it concentrated, the brighter the stone became. 5, 5, 5, all the examiners said their grade at the same time. "Final grade 5, said the bald man. Hiyutsu opened her eyes, she radiated happiness. Really got an A. Despite the fact that she panicked the most, she shocked everyone with her result. "I got an A, I can go to an elite class." She was so nervous and crying that I thought she was going to pass terribly. But how she got an A at that? It's called a typical student, it's normal. The result really stunned the students, but it also boosted their morale. They will try to get a 4 so they don't have to worry about anything. Xu Muxing's face looked so discouraged. This girl had managed to cheat him too, but the teacher was happy with this grade. He hoped that his class would get top marks. The main competitor of their class was Zhu Zhaoting, who had awakened the element of lightning. It was not known how much progress he had made so far, but the teacher hoped that Mubai would not concede anything to him. "You want an extra grade?" the bold examiner asked. Hiyu hurriedly shook her head and said, "I can only control 6 stars. Then follow your teacher, he will lead you to the right place." "Thank you, teacher." Hiyu, smiling happily, left the stage to talk to the other students about what had happened. She couldn't keep it all to herself. Next, Zhang Hu. Zhang Hu was all worked up, he didn't think his turn would come so quickly. "Fan Ji, I'll go," he said to Fan. "Yes, calm down and do well," said Mo Fan. "Don't try to lead others, it makes you want to vomit," Zhao Kun-san sarcastically remarked. Mo Fan wondered if Zhao Kun-san was using the special chat mode to get into the conversation so quickly and prickly, otherwise how else to explain his constant jokes.